Hey everyone, this is Leanne from Of Love and Shiplap and the founder of Sub That Tutorials and More. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on any of our videos, and check the video description for a link to the Sub That US mobile learning library app. You can download this for free and enjoy all of our free tutorials neatly organized, as well as choose to subscribe for access to our exclusive content, including our Affinity, Masterclasses, and so much more. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you a quick 20-minute setup to create this design and talk a little bit about how you can tweak this and customize this using different ornaments and also different PNG layers for your graphic in the middle. This is a great project to use with photographs, even things like sonogram pictures, and also your favorite clip art elements, whether it is something like this that's nativity themed or something with, Santa Claus, snowmen, angels, all of the things. So this is a great project for beginners. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and start by opening up a new document. Now I am working in Affinity Designer 2.0, but everything we're doing today also works in the 1.0 version. You're going to open a new document by clicking the New Document tab or coming to File and then selecting New. We're just doing a general square design because I'm intending for this to be used as a door hanger, which is about 15 inches or so. I'm going to go ahead and choose 5,000 pixels by 5,000 pixels with my DPI set to 300. Your color format when you are designing for sublimation should always be RGB/8 with the color profile sRGB IEC 61966-2.1. When you are designing, this is always the same. This is the same no matter what printer you have. None of that matters when you're creating the design itself. So when you have everything set up, I like to have transparent background checked, and you can choose to have margins or not. But once you're ready, click Create. Next, we're going to import our Ornament clip art set. I have this available on my website. There are different colored ornaments, some with bows, some without, and you have like the interchangeable sets plus the ones already assembled. We're going to come to File and then Place, or you can select the Place Image icon right here from your tool panel. This is going to be the clip art set that we're using off of Creative Fabrica, but first we need our actual bow. Okay, so I've got a bunch of different, all your bows that are in here. I'm going to go with the blue bow since I'm doing this nativity scene. Sorry, not the blue bow. I'm going to go with the blue ornament. Because I'm doing this nativity scene and I feel like that's going to work best with the nighttime sky. This idea you can really use with any clip art element, or even if you wanted to do a photo that you've maybe converted into a watercolor image. You can also use this whole idea with like a sonogram photo. A lot of different takes on how you can implement this, but it's pretty much all going to follow the same process. So I'm going to do the blue. And we'll go ahead and click Open. I have the downward arrow in the portal, which lets me know that it's ready to be placed on my document. You want to just start up at your corner and click and drag across to fill the whole space. Next, I'm just going to center it because I'm compulsive and love everything centered. You will know that it's centered when you see your red and green cross lines. Those are called your snapping guides. They are activated when you select this magnet icon right here at the top. You can also, of course, use your alignment tools, align center here and align middle here. If you don't see this bar, just click on this bar graph and you will see those options there. Next thing that we want to do is create an ellipse that is over top of our ornament. We're going to be clipping our different layers inside of that layer because this is a PNG layer and we're just adding to it, but we want to have everything separate so we can edit things however we need to and want to accordingly. You can learn how to create this particular ornament craft in our Affinity Masterclasses. I believe that this one was in the Affinity Designer Masterclass, the original one. Be sure to go check that out. for this and so much more, which you can learn inside of the Sub That US mobile learning library app. I'm going to come to my Elips tool down here in my tools panel. And I like to just start at one of the edges and just click and drag across. We can use our nodes to get everything stretched out where it belongs. And you're just lining it up with the ornament itself. You'll notice that if you have your snapping guides activated, it is going to snap to the edge of that ornament. So that's what we just got with those. And yeah, we're just adjusting it like that. Now we don't need this to have any fill. So over here in our color panel, let's select that filled in circle and then choose the little circle with a line through it for no fill. And this gives us another good look at our outline here. We can see we've got this a little too high up, so let's bring that down just a hair. Good. All looks good. We also don't want to have a stroke on this, so select the open circle with the black fill and then choose no fill for that as well. So you won't actually see this on your canvas, but it is here in your layers panel, and you do want to make sure it is on top of your bulb. Next, we're going to import our clip art that we plan on using for our ornament. In this case, I'm using that nativity scene that you caught a glimpse of before. So we'll click our place image tool and let's find the one that we want to use. I am going to use this nativity scene here. If you saw my promo of this, I used this one and then realized I don't know who this extra person is that doesn't belong there. So we're going to use this one instead. This clip art set is from Creative Fabrica. I have linked it below. And don't forget that if you don't have a subscription to Creative Fabrica, you can get all of the resources unlimited with their membership plan, and you can get your first month for $1 with our link. So I'm going to go ahead and click open, and then once again, wait for that portal with the downward arrow. Click and drag to size it across. Now I'm really just going to eyeball this. I want to fill this in pretty much as I think that I want it to be. Really just eyeballing it like that. Where you have your ellipse layer, you are going to right click and duplicate or use Control or Command J. And then you're going to take your nativity layer or whatever graphic you choose to use, and you're going to click and drag to clip it inside of a duplicated layer. You're going to do this until so that your cursor is touching the name of that layer in the layers panel. So it's touching the word ellipse, and we release, and now it is inside. You should see a drop down menu. This is how you clip something. It's just that one drag and drop option, super easy. We're going to be doing a little tweaking to this, but before we do that, I want to add in a little bit more of a background that sort of blurs out to fill this in. So that's why we duplicated our ellipse here. We don't need it quite this big, so we're just going to bring it on down. And I'm going to put it in the middle, but down at the bottom. So see how it's aligned with the bottom here, but it's still in the middle of the whole ornament. And our Jesus, Mary, and Joseph are inside of it. They're not clipped inside. They're just within the boundaries of that. So with this one selected, we are going to come to our gradient tool. This is also the fill tool in version 1 of Affinity Designer. You are going to come to context, make sure it's select to fill, come to type and choose elliptical. And this is going to give you the ability to add like an outer edge color and then an inner edge color. So we're going to click on that little block to adjust our color. I am going to start with my outer edge, which is the gray. So click on that stop point there. With my dropper, I'm going to drag it out to my edge where I've got that darkest blue, and then click on it to add it. And then on my other one, I'm going to choose one of these colors that's inside of here, like this yellow or this like purpley blue haze that's in here. We're just looking for something that's going to allow this to really blend with the ornament itself and the graphic. So whatever graphic you're using, you're looking for a color that is somewhere in that middle background area. You can grab that dropper and just click it on down, and then, oops. Let's try that again. Reverse, click our other stopper there, click and drag, get our blue back, and then add that again. Okay, so we have our colors here, and this switched to linear, so we're going to switch that back to elliptical. And let's recenter this. I don't have an answer for why that jumped to linear. It's probably just a technical thing. But I'm going to center this in the middle of that ellipse. And then with these handlebars, you can adjust your gradients. I'm going to bring mine in so that our blue is right along the edges there, and our lighter shade is more in the middle. So when we click off of this, you should actually see that there is a line right here. Now we don't want that line to be visible, so we're going to take that ellipse and we are going to come to the Quick FX tab, which is called the Effects tab in Affinity Designer version 1.0. If you don't see your layers over here, it's usually over here by default. My studio setup is just suitable for me. If you can't find it, come to, in version 1, you're going to come to View and then Studio. In version 2, you'll come to Window and you'll find all of your panels here. Just look for the one that says Effects. You can also access your Effects panel by clicking on the FX icon at the bottom of the Layers panel in both version 1 and version 2. So we click on that, and I'm going to select Gaussian Blur. In version 1, Gaussian Blur is at the top. In version 2, it's at the bottom. So we're going to grab that, and then I'm going to increase the radius. Oops. Don't just check it. Make sure that you actually click on it. There we go. Then I'm going to increase the radius. And this is going to blur that out so that it blends in with our bulb and that line goes away. See? Much better. Okay, now let's work on our graphic to really help this blend in. We're going to do that in the pixel persona. You want to select your PNG that you've imported. You're going to right click and select rasterize. Make sure that you do this to the PNG itself, not your ellipse. Always make sure you have the correct layer selected in your layers panel. Come to your pixel persona, which is where you see the little squares, and we are going to select our erase brush tool, which is the one that looks like an eraser. You want to come over to your brushes and you're going to choose the basic brush and scroll all the way down to the bottom where you have these round light brushes. Now each one of these just refers to a nozzle size. You can pick any one that you want. I'm going to go with the bigger one. So we're going to start by erasing out some of this background. You'll see that I have my opacity at about 50%. That's a good place to start to really help you fade it out so that you don't take away too much at one time. So be sure to come up to your context toolbar and adjust that opacity down to about 50% to start. Always make sure you have that layer selected, and then I'm just going to come along the edge here and I'm going to start erasing this out so that it really blends in with the ornament. You can continue to adjust your opacity. You might find that you want to go a little bit stronger with some of the edges if you're not getting as much as you want with the 50%, and you can always come back over. Also, make sure that if you're using a computer mouse, you release your click and then re-click, because if you don't, it's like a new stroke every time you do. Hopefully that made sense. So we're just going to really soften out these edges. And we're fading them out just so this blends in a little bit better. And we're going to do that on the bottom as well. You may not have to do this particular step depending on the clip art element you have. This particular element was clearly created with artificial intelligence, and so it has sort of a background that wasn't really removed the best way possible. So I'm going to work on phasing in some of this in here as well, just to really soften it all out. It's totally your discretion how much you soften. I like to do quite a bit here because I want to really help this blend in. I'm going to increase my flow up to 100% just so I can try and get this section a little bit more. Although that might actually be my ellipse here. Okay. Make sure you're not trying to erase something that's not there. This ellipse here, we can, sorry, this ellipse here, we can decrease this just a little bit. Okay, I do want to keep the glow that we did in the middle. I just don't want to have it hindering our background merger. So I'm going to just adjust it a little bit. We're going to come back over to our designer persona for a moment, select that gradient tool again, and you can adjust this little line that you see here. So if I zoom in, maybe not that far, this little line here allows you to adjust how that gradient flow is. So I'm actually just going to bring this down some, and that is much better for what I was trying to achieve. Okay, back over in our pixel persona. Now my background's kind of plain by itself. I want to add something in it to really bring this all together. If you have not downloaded the Xenon brush pack from Affinity's website, literally one of my favorite brush packs. I use it so much. I've used it in so many tutorials throughout both Masterclasses for both Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo. I highly recommend this option. It's a fun brush set that's so great for like starry skies and snow and all the fun things. So with that ellipse layer, we are going to select the Add Pixel Layer option, which is the one that looks like a little checkerboard at the bottom of your screen. You're then going to drag that down and put it below your Christmas nativity scene. So it should be within that ellipse, and it should just be below the other one. Also, this ellipse that you have here, go ahead and clip that inside as well by clicking and dragging it. So you should see that they are all indented a little bit, and they're all part of this group when you open and close it. With that pixel layer selected, I am going to select my paintbrush tool, the one that looks like a paintbrush, and I'm choosing the Xenon Galactic brushes, and I'm going to start with Pandora because this is my favorite one as like a base. I'm going to come to my color panel and set this to white, and then just make that kind of big and just brush across the screen. See what I mean? It's like magic immediately. This is one of my favorites. Next, I'm going to come back to that same brush selection, and I'm going to choose Helios because I like this one for small stars. I'm going to increase my nozzle size quite a bit. You can adjust yours right up here with the width, or you can use the bracket keys, the ones that look like sideways staples, on your keyboard. So I'm just kind of filling out my night sky here. Okay. I'm going to come back over to the designer persona. You could choose to take this, your nativity layer there, and you could resize it if you wanted this to fill the whole ornament. So you could resize it like this if that was more of the look you were going for. I want to add text to mine, so I'm actually going to decrease mine. I'm going to put that back the size it was. And I'm going to add text over top, and then I might just resize it a little bit if I need to. So I'm going to select my artistic text tool, click and drag to start. I'm going to type, "Oh, Holy Night." And I'm going to choose just a really cute script font. One of my favorites to use for holiday stuff is Darlston, which is linked below. I'm going to come to my color panel. I'm going to set that to white. This font is a little bit thin, so I do really like to add a stroke. So I'm going to come to that stroke tab, and I'm going to increase the stroke width a little bit. Come over to color, select that open circle, and set that to white as well. Much better. Now I can just resize this and adjust it where I would like this to be on my ornament. We could do this a little bit higher up, I think. Okay. I'm also going to add a 3D effect to this just to give it a little shine. So with that layer selected, once again, come to your layer effects panel, and we are going to choose the one that says 3D. Click on that, check mark it, and then you can increase that radius up. Now I like this because it does give this, see this like gradient shimmer look it gives. It's one of my favorites. And it's just such an easy thing to apply. And that happens when you do the radius all the way up so that you're not specifically getting like a 3D round. You're trying to really diffuse the light and shadow. So let me zoom out just enough so we can see this a little bit better. Just trying not to go too far. Okay, so from here, we have a couple of choices. Do we want to adjust the size of Mary, Jesus, and Joseph? We can increase that some. You could also choose to move this down a little bit if that works better for your overall image. I am definitely really happy with this. This is going to be perfect for either a door hanger or an ornament. I actually have both cutouts on hand. So now we want to go ahead and export everything that we have here. So we can select all of our layers and then right click and group. I always recommend doing this just to make your life a little bit easier. Select your group, come to File, and then Export. And you're going to choose PNG from the drop-down layer, and where it says Area, choose Selection Only. Then it'll open up your File Explorer. When you select the export option, you can save it on your computer. If you want to be able to come back to this project, then you want to save the Affinity designer file. You can do that by coming to File and Save As. Always remember that you have to save as in order to save the source file with your layers if you want to come back and do this later. Now, I also just want to show you that if you wanted to use the version of the ornament with the bow, you can easily swap this out. So if we select our ornament here, and then we choose Replace Image at the top of the screen, and then we'll come back to our ornaments. And let's see, what color bow do I want? I think silver. Okay, we'll select that one. You can see how this has swapped right in. Everything fits perfectly. Now from here, you can choose to decrease the size. You could choose to change the text. Maybe you want to put the text down here, for example, and maybe you want to change the color so it's more visible. You can choose to leave the text up here. You could choose to get rid of that 3D effect. You can just click on your little FX and get rid of that so that it's more visible. You can choose to decrease the size of Mary, Jesus, and Joseph some, and then move that O Holy Night down. Also, the like soft fade that you see there is coming from our Elips layer. I personally like the look, but the look might not be for you or, you know, anyone else. So you can always choose to bring that down as well so that it's no longer overlapping your bow. And if you feel like you lost too much of that background area in here and you want to simply modify the shape of your ellipse, you can come to where it says Convert to Curves, and this will allow you to make some modifications to the overall shape. What I would do is, with your node tool, which is the one that looks like a mouse cursor, click on that line near the bow. I would change this to a sharp node, so you can do that by selecting Convert to Sharp, and then just drag this line some. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that's converted to sharp, and then just drag that line. So all this is doing is just adjusting the boundary of that curve so that it doesn't cover up the bow. And then once again, you could choose to adjust the text. You want to make it smaller. You want to get rid of it completely. Totally up to you. Me personally, I actually like it with the bow fading in and the text being over top. I think that, to me, that's just like a fun look. I don't know. It's just my personal opinion. As I said, you could also get rid of the text, and you can simply choose to enlarge the size of your PNG layer. In this case, again, that is Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, the nativity scene here. So we could just do that and then hide that layer. It's really important to save your working file because that way you can come back in here. You can easily swap out your different bulbs. And so you have like the different ornament colors if you want to work with different ornament colors with the same graphic. And you can also quickly adjust things like your colors with your ellipse, swap out the text, swap out whether it's the ornament with the bow or not. So a lot of versatility there. And this is the kind of file that you can use over and over and over again for different design purposes. If you wanted to do pictures, maybe you would choose a green ornament. I don't know, like the sky is the limit. This is just a fun, quick and easy project that you can put together, whether you're making designs to sell or making designs for your customer. And if you're making those ornaments that are shaped like the ornament here or the ornament with the bow or the door hangers. Anyways, all of the resources that we use today are below in the video description. Be sure to check those out. If you happen to create this, show it off in the Sub That Learning channel in our community tab underneath our mobile app. And as always, thank you so much for joining us.